Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the FireStorm Podcast. We are bringing you today another special guest. This one I am familiar with thanks to the world of AvCon and how small Adelaide is, because Adelaide's a tiny place. And I have come to learn over the past few years that this guy is, in fact, a pro wrestler. I would like to introduce you all to Link Barnett.
Welcome, everybody who is out there listening in the world with their ears.
Yes. I hope your ears are being soothed by our three voices, which are incredibly
I released
deep.
a sonic wave from my mouth. No, I'm just kidding.
How have you been, Colin? Your real name, Colin.
Yeah.
Unless you would like to
Are
be
you telling
addressed-
me? Are you trying to tell me right now that wrestlers don't go by their real names?
Yes.
My life is a lie.
For legal purposes, which have really stunted my life here in Australia, my birth certificate and New Zealand citizenship will have me labelled as Carlin.
That is very unfortunate. Would you like to be addressed as Colin or Link Barnett?
Hey, honestly, whatever is easier for you. I understand that Carlin is a very unique and odd name, and I've...
Honestly, for us, it'll probably be dude most of the time.
Well, for you. For me, I'm used to you as Colin. I'm used to you as Colin.
All right.
Yes, so, Colin, I came to find out when we were both hosting at AvCon that you are a pro wrestler, and I thought that was fucking mint. Tell us, how long have you been a pro wrestler for?
Ooh, a long time. If I somehow survived through till 2003, that would be my 20th anniversary of wrestling. 2003 is when I had my first match in April, I believe, so I've already passed the anniversary this year. And although it was kind of a bit of a slow start, as the New Zealand pro wrestling scene at the time in 2003 was very kind of baby steps and sporadic. It's I'd say sort of from about 2004 onwards we were doing.
Very nice. And
Yeah.
Dang.
what promotions are you primarily with now? I know you're familiar with WRESTLE Rampage here in Adelaide. That's where I've seen you wrestle a few times. What other promotions are you known for competing with?
Yeah, since well, I'll kind of go do like a little bit of a history. In
Sure.
2003-4, as I stated earlier, started wrestling with Impact New Zealand, up in Auckland, the largest city there. The wrestling scene kind of was a bit of a DIY between a lot of guys who kind of, and girls who pulled together a lot of their time, resources, and money to get wrestling going. A lot of fans who just sort of had that, I guess, punk rock DIY attitude, and we made it happen. Found a few people that could, train us as best they could, and we all pulled around that. Got things up and running again about that 2003, 2004 mark. Wrestled there for more or less 10 years, and in a few other places up and down New Zealand. Moved over to Adelaide in 2013. Based myself with what's now known as WRESTLE Rampage, formerly 01 Australia and I believe EPW, Explosive Pro Wrestling before that. And since moving over here to Australia, basing out of WRESTLE Rampage here in Adelaide, have wrestled for other local promotions like Right City Wrestling, formerly Snake Pit, now known as Pro Wrestling South Australia, and a few other sort of spot promotions that have popped up over the years, as well as interstate for places like Pro Wrestling Australia in Sydney and City Wrestling in Melbourne.
Very nice. Yeah, I've heard about Riot City Wrestling quite a bit, actually, at least here in Adelaide. I've heard they're quite a good promotion, but I'm only familiar with WRESTLE Rampage in regard to Adelaide Wrestling. How many promotions would you say are in Adelaide? I know Australia, at least in general, there's tons. There is tons of indie promotions, but what are the ones in Adelaide that you're familiar with? You said Riot City and WRESTLE Rampage, is that it?
To my knowledge, there are at least two others. So there's Pro Wrestling South Australia, which is run by Johnny Raddick, who's semi-regular on Wrestle Rampage shows. He runs up in the northern suburbs. Usually, like, he's got like a set venue where they do their training and weekly shows when they were allowed to. And there is also Adelaide Championship Wrestling, who I think also have a set venue, possibly also in the northern suburbs. I haven't been in contact or like wrestled for them directly, but I sort of know of them. And I believe there may be one or two others, but I couldn't vouch for them. really unfamiliar. So those are the four that I know of.
Right. Yeah, no, that's... he just reminded me, yeah, ACW...
Four is already like two more than I expected.
Yeah, well, Adelaide's small.
For a population of this size, it's probably about all it could handle.
Yeah. Adelaide's small, but like it's got enough. Like, ACW. That was the company I did a few tryout sessions with, because it was just cheap, and there was always at least 10 of us, and that was actually pretty mint. I enjoyed that. But no, that's really good. Just curious. I'm only going to guess how you coined your wrestling name, Link Barnett. I can only guess how you got the link part of it.
Yeah.
So if you would tell us, how did you come up with the name Link Barnett?
Yeah.
Okay, well, your assumptions in that it's Link as in Link, the Legend of Zelda video games, you would be correct. Ocarina of Time and
good taste.
Majora's Mask are like basically my favorite games of all time. It depends on which I've played last.
Excellent taste.
At this stage, I think I played Majora's Mask more recently, so I think Ocarina of Time is sitting as my favorite until I play it and then switch back to Majora's Mask. And Barnett is a really obscure one. Back in New Zealand, there was like a weekend kind of child's entertainment variety show, which was on the like Saturday morning, something like that, called What Now? And during my youth, the main male presenter was Simon Barnett, who was just like the friendliest person on television. Imagine. Super positive, super friendly, and it's just a weird homage to him. I was like, I'm gonna just take his surname, add it on the end.
Very nice.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah,
I mean, Link Barnett flows pretty well.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah. That was the other thing, is it was phonetically kind of it worked.
Yeah,
I'm a big on like linguistics and
oh, for sure.
like, I mean, I did 5-6 years of English in high school, and I don't want to do it. Don't want it to go to waste.
That's fair.
I had a few names that were kind of on the drawing board, and that's one that kind of seemed to be the most easy to phonetically.
Honestly, this is completely just out of the blue, but I wouldn't marry a girl if her name didn't sound good with my surname.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah, I get that.
It's got to be like, once you you got to test it out a few times. It's like, if it works, dude, she's the one. Anyway.
Yeah.
Find the
But I get
perfect
you.
fit.
What I'm saying is, I get you.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and as I kind of, I didn't think about it until like after the fact. There's also a mixed martial artist and shoot fighter wrestler, Josh Barnett, the like a legend of the fight game. Essentially, he's done a lot of sort of cross promotion with like MMA and pro wrestling, kind of blending the two together. And I was just like, oh yeah, he's like an amazing like, this guy, and I'm like, I guess I've kind of like leached onto his name as well. So I'll take that.
No, nice. I can definitely see that. It's just I'm just imagining you guys who find the fucking perfect girl for you, and you're just like, all right, change your first name though. It doesn't work.
I would, dude. I would make her do this.
Bloody hell. So we can all assume.
You know me too well.
We can all assume, Colin, from our few years being hosts at AvCon, from the selection of your name for wrestling, that you are indeed, like us, a bit of a nerd. As well, we're looking at your Discord image, which is actually one of your merch designs, and it's got Link as well as, like, I believe, is that kanji with it as well?
Yeah, it's the... I don't know my Japanese It's basically, like the...
What are them Japanese writing forms?
It's the language that makes the English words.
Okay, it's the one they use to adapt English.
There's the katakana and kanji. Whichever one it is that makes the foreign language its noise. It's that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But to look at the picture, to look at it larger, it's essentially the manga / anime Akira. It's a tribute homage to that. So it's the classic picture, if you're familiar with it. Main character is kind of walking towards his motorbike, while the sort of big cityscape is in the background. I think it's the main poster image used for the movie. And it's basically a take on that. So it's me in my wrestling gear, my name in the same font with the Japanese language
nice
sprayed across it, walking towards a wrestling ring as opposed to
that is epic.
Which is kind of just cropped out of the image you can see.
Yeah.
Well,
it just looks like a dude.
I'll try to remember to flash up a comparison on screen if I remember. I'll make an internal note for myself. So yes, you indeed, like us, are I'm only guessing a big fan of anime and manga, considering you're willing to homage Akira in your merch. What would you say are your favorites? What would you say are your most preferred anime or manga? What do you like to watch?
Loaded question, but there are a few that will always kind of be my go-tos. I think my overall favorite work, fiction in general, like just limited to anime and manga, is the Ghost in the Shell series. Very big on cyberpunk, future tech, transhumanism, all that jazz. Also happens to have just amazing soundtrack visuals. That's one of the first I kind of stumbled across as a child, sort of growing up into the world and discovering anime manga was the original 1995 movie. Watched it, had no idea what was going on, but it looked amazing. And then over the years, went back and watched it again, and for nostalgia reasons, and realized, there's a lot going on in this, which is actually real. And grew and discovered and went down the rabbit hole. A few others. I am a big fan of Naruto. I had friends who were kind of
fair enough
weaned me into it back before it was really a big thing. They were getting these crazy download discs, finding like episodes from obscure places on the internet and telling me all about it, and I got into that. And
the old days, dude.
Collecting them all. Yeah, we're still burning them onto CDs, not even DVDs.
Fuck yes.
Video CDs. Cowboy Bebop, I still to this day think is as a pure like analytical and as a like an art form of anime is technically perfect. Like I don't think there's any series that will ever may not ever top it as far as content, visuals, music, everything. Just a complete package of what anime is. Like it's, if anyone sort of says like, oh hey, I'm starting to get into anime, what's good? Like that's pretty much the default I will always go to, is like, watch this series. It's as good as it gets. And another few sort of personal favorites are things like Kill la Kill. I'm thinking now. There's too many. Berserk, another big one that I am a big fan of. And I sort of got into like anime and kind of essentially through video games. Like I remember some of like the very first like anime I ever watched were like the Street Fighter 2 movie and the Fatal Fury animated movies. Back in the early 90s, just because I was familiar with like the video games. Like, oh wow, they made a movie of this. Cool. Watched it and like, wow, that was way better than anything I see on Saturday morning cartoons. What the hell was that?
It's amazing.
Straight up.
The art form you can discover. It all starts off with Saturday morning cartoons. It all starts off with waking up early to go on your TV and just watch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for Trent and I, it was Pokemon.
Speaking of that, though, like I'm actually like, now that I think about that and I said that, I think the very, very, very first anime I probably would have ever watched and not really put two and two together at the time because I was 6 or whatever, Samurai Pizza Cats. That was like, I remember like that standing out as a child just because it was so batshit crazy. And I was like, and again, as a kid, I just couldn't figure out like, why is this so much more entertaining than everything else? And, not really having the concept of like,
Japanese
it's actually animated in a different, it's presented and designed for, a completely different cultural audience. And then these guys got the task of translating it in no script and actually made it like a way better show. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent there.
Yeah.
I've heard so many things about Samurai Pizza Cats, and it's just like, this sounds fucking crazy. This would be quite interesting.
Honestly, just for pure like crazy reasons, it's highly entertaining.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, I think if I one of the things that would happen if I ever became like an indie wrestler is I would be the guy to wear one of the Naruto headbands to the ring.
Oh yeah, I have done that.
That's amazing.
I've seen one of your costumes, Colin. Actually, you dressed up as a Pokemon trainer at one point, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done it a few times. That's one of the easier ones, just because you kind of it's essentially the Ash Ketchum from the
from the original show. You can get shit like that on like Amazon for $20.
Yeah, exactly. I bought that. I bought my one for dirt cheap. It was actually for originally for Neko Nation, like a nightclub event here in Australia that just that goes around the main cities, and it's basically just they theme up a bar for the night with anime, manga, nerd, video game stuff, and everyone has a good time.
That is epic.
So yeah, originally bought it for that, and then just sort of thought, like looking at the jacket afterwards, I'm like, I guess I could wrestle it. So
there you go.
Often wrestle it like again like geek conventions here in Adelaide and around, and then just whenever it becomes sort of suitable for the occasion, it's like, I'll dress up and so like that, come out to the Pokemon theme, everyone will have a good time.
That's awesome. I know Avcon's worked hand in hand with Neko Nation in the past few years. I haven't actually been to Neko Nation though it does look pretty mint. Like it just
disgraceful.
The posters make it look like something it's not, but I heard it's literally just a nightclub because like the poster's literally just a cat girl. It's just like oh fuck, what's going on?
It's when when I moved to Adelaide in 2013. One of the first things, because I was just kind of sitting around, kind of getting used to life here, and saw that they were doing this thing, which was like, I just had never seen anything like it back in New Zealand. I'm like, well, that sounds kind of cool. Didn't really know anyone, so I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to throw inhibitions to the wind. And at the time, it was like they said, like, going to be a Pokemon theme. So I figured, all right, cool, well, what can I do? And there's a cheap, like, again, $30 eBay Ash Ketchum jacket and hat. I'll buy those and turn up, and there was like 12 other Ash Ketchums there, of course. But yeah, just like this crazy, like, wow, everyone's here, like having a really good time. Like the music's crazy, everyone's dressed up. Like I've ever been before. It's like, this is the only reason I will ever go out again. it kind of ruined like just going out and socializing. It's like, this is just like 10 times more fun than ever doing it regularly. And it's a bit of a shame because the guy who runs it, I'm kind of sort of friends with. He's actually a really big wrestling fan as well. It's on a bit of an indefinite hiatus even before pandemic and things like that. Like I think he used to live in Adelaide, then Perth, and then now lives in Sydney. And he's just kind of got a little burnt out on doing the whole thing because it was just like a huge logistic strain to try and get all these things going. So I know he still wants to do them, and I think, but it's just kind of one of those, just taking time to do himself for a while, and maybe we'll see them back in the future. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully so, because after the intrigue that was made of it, because of like I don't know if it was last year's AvCon or 2018 that it occurred on the Saturday night. And maybe it did both, I'm not sure. But like after hearing all about it, and then a bunch of people were just like, dude, we're going to this no matter what. I want to go to this. And I remember, I forgot what I was doing. I was doing like a question screening for something. I was just like, everyone's talking about this Neko Nation. It sounds really cool. And I was really tempted to go, but it didn't in the end, unfortunately. So it would be cool if it did return. It sounds interesting. It's one of those like really good memories I have of Adelaide being like, oh, I made a good decision moving here. So
yeah, I would, in a heartbeat, love to see it back.
This might be a little bit of a loaded question, but out of curiosity, what convinced you to move from New Zealand to Adelaide, of all places? Because at least in the terms of Australia, Adelaide is just a bit, I don't know. You could say
crap.
Nothing. No, it's not crap. Like, you could say nothing. It is one of the most livable places in the world, from what I've heard. But it's almost, but like, aside from, Neko Nation, AFCON, like the other nerdy shit that has come here and all that, but ignoring that entirely, like, what we've got the Rundle Mall, we've got the Malls Balls. Like, Adelaide itself is the city of churches, so it's not really eye-catching to anyone that's like moving to Australia. So what compelled you to move from New Zealand to Adelaide?
Yeah, not exactly like it's not out there advertising itself as entertainment capital of the world or anything. In a simple one-word answer is wrestling. But to go further on that, it was back in 2012. We had from Adelaide, Hartley Jackson and Damien Slater come visit us at IPW New Zealand, and they performed at one of our shows and held like an all-day training camp, essentially, which was kind of a gateway into getting a spot in Japan with the 01 promotion. So a lot of the best guys from New Zealand were all there at the time, and we did this like just absolutely murderous one-day training camp, unlike anything I'd done up until that point. And by the end of it, was just kind of just blown away as like, oh, this is like the next level of where wrestling should be. Because again, we were kind of isolated in DIY punk scene in New Zealand. And was just kind of blown away by how much these Australian guys knew and how good they were, and if they can like, oh, okay, so this is the next step of training and intensity. And I was, by the end of it, they just sort of said, if you guys are ever in the area coming over to Australia, whatever, just hit us up. We'll happy to take you through more training, and that sort of thing. And at the time, I had just come off of a basically 6-year stint working with EB Games as a assistant store manager and that sort of thing, and hadn't really taken any holiday pay or any sort of time off in those 6 years. So had all this money kind of saved up and quit the job before Christmas that year, because to hell with working on Christmas.
Yeah.
And just kind of had this money to kind of do something with. So I was like, I could just sort of sit by and have like this extended, like probably could have been like a year-long holiday. But I thought, I've got enough money to kind of do something with, and they'd left just such an impression on me that I was like, you know what, I'll come over and I'll visit for a week, do some training and that sort of thing. Did one of their big shows at the Theberton Theatre, which is like a local...
Yeah, Theatre Theatre. Oh my God, Theatre Theatre.
Yeah, local legendary music venue. Did a big show there and just sort of saw the production and the quality of the shows they put on and the wrestlers they had. And then after returning back to New Zealand, thinking about it for about a month, I thought, screw it, I've got enough money to pick up and move to Adelaide. Started looking into it, bought tickets, let everyone here on the wrestling scene know that, I'm going to move over early the next year, and did. And that was kind of how it all worked. And then within the first week, I actually, very luckily, one of the wrestlers had a room in their place just open up, and also managed to land a job working at a New Zealand-specific travel agency. So it's just like, well, you know all about New Zealand. I'm like, yeah, I've lived there my whole life. And they just said, well, we can teach you how to sell it as far as being a travel agency goes. I'm like, cool. So within a week of moving over, had a job, had somewhere to stay, and everything just worked out.
So you can also sell New Zealand. So you can sell New Zealand as well as selling moves. So that's pretty good.
New Zealand sells itself. That's the beauty. It's just, all I had to do was just learn how to type things on the computer with computer.
That's absolutely fair. No, but then again, thinking about what I said just before in regards to like how Adelaide isn't really that impressive in the overall scheme, it actually is surprising how many like top tier wrestlers have come out of Adelaide. Like you said, Hartley Jackson, Damian Slater, Rat Daddy, and like even now Jonah Rock, who's gone on to WWE NXT to become Bronson Reed. Like that is bloody incredible.
Don't
like,
forget your favorite girl, Trent.
Yeah.
How dare you? No. Rhea Ripley. She is also amazing, yes.
Yeah.
No, it is actually mental thinking about the talent that's come out of Adelaide alone, despite the whole of Australia. Like, that is... you know what? Fair enough. That is that is the fairest reason to move to Adelaide for the wrestling scene. That is actually... I get it. That's absolutely fair. Gus, you said you had a few questions loaded up for our guest. Yeah, shoot away.
Hold on. Yes.
No,
I was about to say, like, the only people I know that have come out of, like, the area I live in is, like, Mickie James and Adam Page. Which one is cool, the other is not as cool.
Well, I don't want to chalk up which one you think is which, but they're both...
It's Adam Page, he's cool!
Mickie James has a lot of history. She's got a lot of good...
Isn't she? I think she's a country singer now.
No, she did like I think it was like a bit of a spin-off sort of thing, which was part of her sort of persona.
I don't know.
But
I have no idea.
I'm a big fan of Mickie James, and I would prefer...
Yeah, she's great, though. I mean, she's great. Like, it's just she wasn't as... Especially, like, her later runs were, like, a little underwhelming.
Oh, those were her best. I appreciated it more as time went on. The first ever, like, women's elimination chamber match, she was the star of that match. I watched that match. I was just like,
that's the one. That's the one Alexa Bliss won, right?
I want to say probably been...
That's the one. I think it was Alexa Bliss won that one. I can't remember.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember. The only thing I remember
because it was right after the first women's Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah, that sounds.
So I think it was Alexa. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it just had like the whole Bayley, Sasha Banks turning on each other thing was like the other thing in that match. Didn't
go anywhere.
That and Mickie James are the only two things I can remember.
Yeah, when she was like Alexa's sidekick, that was pretty cool. I did like that. Yeah, so I meant to ask just because I'm curious and I don't know a lot about how like the whole just how everything is with putting a show together. I'm just curious, like how's the backstage environment at a show? Like when you go to a wrestling show, like is it like a friendly, is it relaxed, or is it like a little tense, like everyone's stretching and getting ready? Like I'm just curious.
It depends. It kind of goes person to person. Like some people will like really zone in, constantly get themselves in the zone, like they're out to go to war, which is fair enough because
fair, exactly.
Go get the hell beaten out of you. Some people are a lot more relaxed.
Go get slugged in the face for others' entertainment.
Yep.
Yeah, so some people are a lot more relaxed and will just be joking, and it's like kind of hanging out with the boys and the girls. Yeah. And then some people are basically far too busy working on the logistics of the show to really get a match, and all of a sudden they're getting a call out, and they just have to go out and wing it. It's all over the show. Like I'm definitely leaning towards the relaxed, up until the point where I know that it's immediately coming up. I'll always be joking around. I'll generally try and make sure that I'm in my gear early, because I know there's a recurring nightmare for a lot of other wrestlers is having nightmares of being in a situation before a big match but not having your gear on, or not having it there present, or for whatever reason your match is about to start in 3 minutes and you're just in a situation where you're not ready. Like it's this weird, like it's a very weird specific wrestler dream. So I always make sure I'm in my gear probably far earlier than I need to be. And then
you don't really want to go out and wrestle a match naked, so...
No, and I think I've possibly done that in a nightmare. Or at least, like, only with a towel.
It's a vivid dream I have every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But yeah, no, it's a weird one. And then yeah, like I'll be kind of know that I'm ready, and I'll just generally be.
Yeah, it does make sense that you would try to be ready way too way earlier than is probably necessary, just so that you don't have to worry about it 5 minutes before your match starts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although I have had one instance where back in England we were about to go out for a match we kind of weren't ready for, and there was basically this big long hallway down the back of this venue we're in, and I had misread the situation, and I was like, cool, I'm just going to go to the toilet and I'll come back here in a couple of minutes, guys. I'll be ready after that. And as I'm on the toilet, I hear my music. Literally finish what I was doing and sprint down this hallway and then come out as if nothing happened. And it somehow I did. And the match afterwards was...
That is incredible.
Did you have enough time to wash your hands?
I do, sort of. I did the best I could. I wouldn't say they were probably they weren't 99.9% free of germs, but I think I might have just got a passing grade.
Yes.
Yeah, you might have gotten to 60.
We can only hope for the best. That's pretty good.
Imagine this state of panic that you must be in. You're just on the toilet and you hear your music start playing. For some reason, that image is hilarious to me. It's just you're on the toilet. It's oh shit.
The most stressful thing at the time, but looking back at it now, it's man,
that's fucking hilarious.
Oh god. I'm going to preface this question and give you a little bit of time to come up with an answer. You can answer it a bit later if you want. But that question will be, if you wanted anyone that's listening to go seek one of your matches that you would think is your favorite, which one would it be? Unless you have an answer right now, we can leave the answer to a bit later.
That's weird because my personal favorite matches are ones that a lot of people probably will be like, oh, it was okay. No, but there was a really fun one I had, which has just come up on Vimeo, online video service, Wrestle Rampage Replay. It's one of the two. We had to change it for legal reasons. I can't remember.
Oh god,
it's Rewind or Replay. But if you search out, I think it's the latest one up or one of the most recent ones. Back in 2015, we did a Titanium Arena local basketball stadium.
Yeah, I know Titanium.
Which was a big build-up. We got 1,000 people, which is purely off of local talent, which is kind of crazy for Australia. Opening match was myself, Robbie Eagles, who's now in New Japan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Nick Armstrong, one of the guys from Right City, a really good guy. And Rufio, who is originally based out of Queensland at the time, is now in the UK. We were the opener for this crazy big arena show. We were the first out in front of the people, which was kind of intimidating,
match,
but also
that's
amazing.
Big.
Yeah, and we just went out and had this kind of balls to the wall four-way, which when you look back at it was just oh my god, we did so much stuff in such a short amount of time. At the time, it felt like it went way longer, but yeah, I watched the footage back. It took a couple of years for the editing and stuff to come through, and it was just wow, we were just going 100 miles an hour, and it was kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Also, the since then, there's I don't know how many are on that service, but I had a series of matches with Mike Boomer over the Wrestle Rampage Cruiserweight Cup. And those are always a good fun. We just knew how each other worked and always managed to kind of change things up and push it further from the last match. So those are always a lot of fun. And I had actually had a couple of really cool matches with Red Daddy. His very first match back in 2017, maybe it was 17 sounds right. Which was, his sort of first introduction to the crowd. He was very, very nervous, and it's one of those ones that, fans probably won't see it as highly entertaining, but it's one I'm kind of really proud of. And then we had a match. I think it was 2 years later down the track. He had sort of really made a name for himself and got a bit more confident. It was kind of cool just to see how much he'd grown and how much we could do different from his very limited first offering. So it's one of those kind of a personal seal of approval matches that I have.
That's fair. Like, it's amazing, actually. Like, in the brief time I've watched Wrestle Rampage in the past few years when I've been catching up with it, it's amazing seeing, like, just how big Rat Daddy has gotten here. Like, just the way he's exploded. Like, that's just fucking mental. It's a weird intangible, which just kind of is around him. Like, it's starts off as a local guy who's come from a AFL footy background, has a lot of friends and family who were interested to see how he would doing this wrestling thing. So they really got to had that club football mentality of coming out and getting behind their guy and drinking the bar dry. So they were a very large and vocal section of the crowd from his very first match. I think it's just one of those things where, because everyone else was, getting behind this guy, they just by osmosis or something, just sort of thought, well, yeah, sure, we'll get behind this guy too. And it's just become this weird
science
it's this weird movement almost of just there's no good reason to explain why this guy is so popular, but he just is.
Well, you can tell immediately his attitude of going behind the bar, just drinking everything that in sight. I mean, that kind of fits the Australian motif well enough. It's kind of a big...
I was going to say, I feel like if any gimmick Australians will get behind, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that is 100% absolutely fair. So I'll do a cheap plug for you. If you want to go check out Link Barnett's trilogy of matches with Mike Boomer, as well as the Fatal 4-Way, and other matches involving stars like Rat Daddy, Jonah Rock, Damian Slater, and all of that, I believe it is definitely called Wrestle Rampage Replay.
Hey, I was about to ask if we ever figured out if it was replay or rewind.
I just looking at that Twitter now. I believe it's Wrestle Rampage Replay. Check them out on Vimeo. And check out the catalog.
Yo, Vimeo, dude! Yeah. Holy crap! I forgot they existed.
Just because they do the good high quality. If you want those 720p and upwards,
Yes, sir. It's like the middle ground between YouTube and Dailymotion.
Yeah, right.
So
but there's anyone in the world of Australian wrestling has appeared on a Wrestle Rampage show. There's just crazy good matches from people all over the country. Get your money's worth.
Did I tell you about the time I got socked in the head by fucking
I remember this story.
Who's I forgot his name, but he's fucking massive. He's one half of Aussie Arrow or whatever it is.
Mark Davis?
No, the other half.
The other half.
Kyle Fletcher?
Kyle Fletcher.
Yes, that's the one, dude.
I got sucked in the head by Kyle Fletcher in the first show.
Trent sent me this clip, and it's just him getting socked in the face on the back end of what was it? It was a suicide dive.
Yeah, it was a suicide. Okay, I was in the front row because no one was in the front row, although the front row seats at
WrestleRampage. And then you figured out why no one was in the front row.
No. Usually the front row seats are reserved for family members or friends or whatever, but there was no one there, and it was halfway through the show, so I was like, oh fuck it, I'm going to take the front row seat. So I took it, and it was Tommy Knight versus Kyle Fletcher, I believe. End of 2017, end of 2018, one of those years. And he did a suicide dive, and he overjumped it. He went a little bit over, and he socked me right in the fucking head.
It's an epic clip.
It was, I
really can watch that now because I think I remember the dive, and I remember thinking I hope no one got hurt.
Well, yeah, there you go.
You in the background, you did. All right.
I legitimately, I bought
Rest in peace.
I bought it on Vimeo again just to clip that scene so I could watch it. Because I was like, oh, that's fucking beautiful. Because, like, that was good. But, Tommy Knight, though.
I was just going to say just a little bit of insight. At our internal sort of end-of-year awards, we voted that as Match of the Year. So you're a little part of best match of the
There you go,
Rampage.
dude.
Fuck yeah. I'm naming them up by getting punched in the head by accident. Lovely. That's wonderful.
Suicide dive gone wrong results in local teenager being knocked out.
It was good, though. That was good. He
front row seats again.
No, I had the pleasure of talking to Carl Fletcher afterwards, and he apologized for it, and I was just like, no, that's
He's
fine.
a good kid.
He's fucking taking off in New Japan. He is, and I've seen him, and he was
on the what show was it? Like the New Year's Bash or whatever. This year? I can't remember. I remember hearing about him though.
Yeah,
recently.
He's doing very well.
So he's done a lot of like really good things with Mark Davis over in the UK. They're like running their own shows now. Shade. But yeah, like he had a couple of like really high profile matches when they did like the Progress and New Japan crossover shows. And yeah, he's just they're doing really good stuff. So it's really cool. Like we managed to get him in one of his few return to Australian wrestling dates here in Adelaide. I think it's one of those things where we knew that this kid's going to go places, so we're happy to seek him out to get him on Wrestle Rampage for that show.
Yeah, that was mental. How much mainstream wrestling would you say are you into? Like, how much WWE, AEW, or New Japan? How much do you typically try to watch?
My watching habits have kind of peeled back a lot in recent years. Like, I'll generally watch like AEW YouTube highlight because they go for 20 minutes and that's about all the time I can spare to watch. If I do know of like certain matches or certain like big events, like I will usually go out of my way to watch those. Not live if I can, but usually within the week of it happening. Like I didn't even watch wrestling the first time I hadn't. I can't even remember.
Sorry, you cut out. Did you say you cut out for a second? Did you say you didn't watch WrestleMania this year?
I didn't watch it live. Like like kind of back in segments, like during the week it aired. And it was like not watching it in full and live, or as live as I can be with the time difference. It's like the first time I haven't done that since I was a teenager. And
it was 2 nights though, so it's a bit different.
Yeah, it was a lot. And it was airing like as I was starting. Well, I'm going to take the day off to Mania. Like, huh?
WrestleMania. Holy crap.
But New Japan, I will get into like a lot of their sort of their bigger events. Like, so when they have like Kingdoms, as well as the tournaments, like the big
their tournaments are so good.
Yeah, like those I'll try to keep up and watch as much as I can. And yeah, AEW, I've sort of just been watching highlights, and like I just don't have the time to watch the full shows yet. But like I really do like a lot of the stuff they're doing, and a lot of the guys that they have.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not really on board with AEW just yet is that I still have to pay $60 to see a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like
they're going through Fight TV for us is like the legal means.
Oh,
it's
fuck.
We have it on like fucking some sort of. I think it's Bleacher Report. It's some weird like fighting centric streaming service, and it's like I still have to pay. Like, am I in 2005 still? Will I have to fucking pay $60 to see however how many to see a pay-per-view in the year of 2020? Like, what the fuck? If I have like New Japan World or WWE Network, like that shit costs $10.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I kind of don't like about what they're doing so far. But I feel like if they get big enough, they'll have their own streaming service as well.
Yeah, I'm sure hopefully that'll be like sort of the long-term goals. The other, especially in the last year, like the thing I've actually been following the most is just the local wrestling scene.
That's fair.
Now that like Melbourne City and especially PWA doing the live shows on Overplay. like those are things that I actually look forward to the most in wrestling, is just kind of seeing how the local guys and what they're doing, and like now that I kind of know a lot of them in like on a personal level, it's just like I just like supporting and getting behind the local wrestling scene, and even like IPW back in New Zealand, like I love catching up and just seeing what they're doing whenever given the chance. But yeah, like those are kind of, that's like the local Australasian pro wrestling scene is kind of my big priority, I guess, as far as wrestling viewing goes.
Well,
like,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Part of it.
If someone says, you know, like here's the latest WWE pay-per-view that was this week, or you know, here's the latest, for example, EPW show from Perth, you know, that was on. Like, which one am I going to watch? I'll watch the Perth show. I'll watch the Melbourne show. I'll watch the Sydney show. It's a lot more sort of relevant, I guess, to what I'm doing, at least currently. Like I'll always try and watch as much as I can, and but if I were to prioritize, like it's the local stuff that I like to watch. That, and it's kind of like a local, then Japan, then the American stuff is probably, if I were to prioritize what I would.
No, well, that makes sense.
That's absolutely fair.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like if you see your friends on shows like that, like I would want to support my friends doing that stuff like that too. You know, like that makes sense.
And it's also like really, really good. Like
it actually is.
Yeah, it's like the shows that we're putting on now, like the talent's always been there. It's just like we're finally sort of catching up with the kind of the exposure and the production and stuff. Like PWA in Sydney, their production and stuff is crazy. It's basically as good as anywhere else.
No, that's the truth though. Like even the indiest of indie promotions at least now have a good lighting, good setting. Like they have like the streaming. Although Vimeo, and like people forget Vimeo exists, it's still actually pretty reliable and pretty good. It's still actually a good streaming service as well. So yeah, it's very good now. Like the scene has definitely picked up. It is really good to see. If you wanted to have, again, I'm going to have a few more loaded questions, which are pretty broad, but answer them to the best of your ability, or later if you wish. Are there any matches that you in particular want to have? Is there anyone in particular you want to wrestle in the future?
Yeah, there are a few names. It's always ever growing. It's probably a giant list that if I had the time to go through. But like off the top of my head, there's a few guys locally I'd love to have matches with. In Sydney, PWA, that area, there's Matt Diamond, one of the Velocities / Speed Force. I've specifically singled out him just because we have this weird like thing where we've both been around for a long time, and we have this weird thing where we both look way younger than we actually are. So it's just one of those obscure, weird matches that I'm just like, and like he's like amazing. Also, by the way, like he's just incredibly talented, incredibly acrobatic, and I've always wanted to have him down here to do like a match in Wrestle Rampage, or like if we do it in Sydney, whatever. Like he would be like a great Cruiserweight Cup match. Here in Rampage. You
said Matt Diamond, didn't you? That name does sound familiar. I don't know why that sounds familiar to me.
Well, again, he's been wrestling in Australia for a long time. Like him and Robbie Eagles, formerly a tag team, the Lightspeed Express. Sort of as part of the Velocities and PWA, who are the tag team champs. And he's just been all over the country, and just like one of those guys that is stupidly talented beyond his age. I would say like his reach. Like he should probably have done. He could have done more internationally if for whatever reason he hasn't. Like he's just stupidly talented. Everyone knows it. Also, there's a few guys like I trained with, did a couple of like training sessions over the last year, and guys like Ricky South is amazing. Carter Deems and absolutely pulling a blank on his name. won the Coliseum tournament on Survivor. What's his name? Just absolutely pulling a blanket. His tag team partner in the Babes. Everyone will know who I'm talking about. Maddie Wahlberg. God, there we go.
Maddie Wahlberg.
They're both great up-and-comers. One who I think is a really sort of underrated, underappreciated, going completely under the radar there is Jay Sorbet. Probably not like a big name to a lot of people, but there's something about him. I'm like, this guy's got some good stuff going. I think he's one of those guys that should probably get a bit more attention. Big Fudge and I had a 4-way match here in Adelaide once with a couple of other people. But I'd love to do like a one-on-one stuff with him. He's just a amazing comedy wrestler, very unique part of any show. Bunch of guys over in Perth, like everyone over in EPW Adelaide apparently is really, really good. Training under Damien Slater and David Storm, Marcus and the like, all familiar faces with Wrestle Rampage over the year. Been meaning to go out there for a long time. Basically, at this stage, be happy to wrestle anyone there from all accounts. Few guys in Melbourne, like I've had matches with Dowie James and they've been really fun. The Philippes, Tommy and Stevie are really good. Again, if I had the list prepared, I would probably be able to remember these out. But yeah, there's a lot, like guys all over the place. And even back in New Zealand, there's a bunch of guys that have come up over the years that I've been away that I would love to wrestle. I was lucky to get a match with Falcon Kid while I was back in New Zealand, and he's one that I think should try and extend his reach elsewhere because he's a good attitude on him and a lot of talent. I'd love to see him do some stuff, at the very least over here in Australia, just to kind of get his name out there.
That name also sounds familiar to me because I've seen at least a few, like either New Zealand wrestling, because I've liked a bunch of the local pages on Facebook and Twitter and all that, and I do believe Falcon Kid. I've heard that name as well. He seems pretty good.
Yeah. And at the moment there's the IPW New Zealand champ, Jamie Tugger TEC. He, again, one of those people that, like, if the right people find out about him, he's going to do big things.
Nice.
Get some scouts in here.
Do you have
Boy Scouts?
Do you have any ambitions for your future in the wrestling business, or do you intend to just hang around and keep improving and honing your craft, or what do you want to achieve in the wrestling business from here?
Definitely, like, just always improving, always training, bettering myself. I found, like, I guess a bit of a spot, like, kind of helping nurture and train the, local guys here, like Rat Daddy and Tommy Knight, Corn Dog, Corey Adams, Nick Golfus, the Foxy Boys, etc., etc. All the sort of the guys coming up through the Wrestle Rampage system. Like, I'm really happy just to sort of help them get the start that I had to work years for. Like, we can short track and trim off all the bad mistakes that we made. For them to sort of get the shortcut is like, it's just kind of cool seeing them do the things that we sort of stumbled our way through, I guess. Locally, like, I'm looking to kind of work around more. Like, I'd love to go work as many dates as I could in Sydney and Melbourne and Perth. Even in Queensland, there's a few places I'd love to at least check out. Getting around and helping out anywhere and everywhere I can, and just being a part of the local Australasian scene at the moment is kind of a cool thing. Like, I think it's been sort of being talked about for a long time, the last few years, that like something big is going to happen locally sooner or later, and I just want to be here for that. Like, I'd hate to sort of move on somewhere else and miss out on it, like, after being part of it for so long. Like, I just want to see this event, whatever it may be, whatever the big end game is for the local scene and the improvement it's been over the last few years. Like, I want to be around for that.
No, that's fair.
As a personal goal, though, like, wrestling in Japan is a big thing for me. Like, wherever it may be, if it's 01 or DDT, Dragon Gate, New Japan obviously being the big one. wherever it is. Like, I would love to just at least go there once and experience that.
DDT sounds like an experience from what I've heard about.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I've been a big fan of theirs for long time. Well before even sort of Kenny Omega made his name there. Like I was following guys like Kami and Poison Sawada Julie, if you remember those old throwback names. Just seeing like the crazy things that that wrestling could be. Like it's just like, oh, this is like really eye opening. Like it's a really sort of crazy art house take on, you know, like the art form of pro wrestling. Like there's really no limits to what they do with wrestling, which is awesome.
Yeah. They're the original crazy bitches before Stadium Stampede and all this other crap.
Yeah.
You mentioned once briefly, I forgot when, it was at one of the AvCons, that you helped with the New Japan event in Adelaide in 2018, because I told you, I mentioned to you that I went to go see that. What did you say, that you helped set up the ring or something? Like what you said you were a part of that somehow? Or... Yeah,
so the New Japan tour, early 2018, I think it was like February.
Yeah, it was February. Yeah,
so they toured around the major locales in Australia. Adelaide was the first stop, and we were, as Wrestle Rampage was kind of hired out to lend our ring for the event. So we were hired to sort of, you know, here's our ring, we'll set it up, break it down. So brought in to do that, and then on the night it was just kind of, all right, well, we'll just have you guys, a few of you experienced guys around the ring, just to essentially be young boys, take away the entrance gear and just make sure that the railing and stuff stays intact. So yeah, managed to get probably, like, you know, the best seat in the house to watch the show, which was right in front of the guardrail at ringside. Managed to get thrown into said railing by Lance Hoyt.
Oh
yeah.
Oh shit! Wasn't one of the I forgot his name, but like, didn't one of your guys get to wrestle Jay White?
Yeah. So on the card it was Elliot Sexton.
Elliot Sexton, that's right. That was good. I fucking remember that. His chest was raw, bloody fuck.
Yeah, they really went into each other. I remember catching a little bit backstage after the event, and yeah, they definitely laid into each other.
This was...
like there was there's kind of the TMDK crew. So Jonah Rock, Slick, Pitt. They were all. I think they did like a bunch of matches along the tour. Like Elliot Sexton did like a bunch of matches along the tour in Sydney and Melbourne and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, because I remember I meant to ask you about that, because you mentioned you helped with the ring or something before one time, and I was just like, I just forgot what you said. But yeah, no, that was pretty cool. It was a good event, but it's good to see that they're actually like willing to cooperate and work with local indies, even though it's just lending a ring. Like the fact that they're willing to. Well, I guess the costs of bringing a ring from fucking Japan to Australia would be astronomical. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. Well, that's pretty cool that they reached out and worked with you. And you mentioned before you've been training, helping nurture and train some of the other local guys. Like I've actually had the chance to chat to Aaron Onley, one half of the Foxy Boys, whose name is actually Gavin. Good bloke. Yep. Fucking sick dude. Foxy Boys. pretty impressive.
Boys.
The Foxy Boys, they're pretty impressive as well. They're really good. They're pretty
kind
good.
Kind of an intimidating team name, but you know, we'll go with it.
No, but they're not meant to be. But it's just like watching the local scene as well. Like even comparing it now to, you know, obviously everyone compares any wrestling to anything they're already used to, but it's like every event I've been to, every Wrestle Rampage event I've been to, I've thoroughly enjoyed from top to bottom. Like, it's all standout stuff. It's pretty impressive to see. And, even your matches, I know a couple of your matches they've been either comedy matches or really good one-on-one matches. And even the comedy matches, they're still impressive. Like with the high flying and everything, you can still make a good match out of it. And it's been really good to see.
Yeah. Oh, that's just again being a big fan of DDT for so long. It's one of those things that like I've always wanted to do. Essentially, I guess. And then it's just like I've been given these chances, and it's just like, well, I guess I can work a bit of something a bit different in here and. Working, yeah, again, just kind of giving myself new challenges, I guess, in a match is just kind of expanding, who I am and what I do as far as wrestling goes, and just kind of, hopefully, I'm opening some eyes to see, like, I can do dead serious, I can do cruiserweight, I can do whatever I like, and then just adding this wrinkle to the resume is just it's been fun and satisfying, and I hope it leads to other things.
That's awesome. That's pretty good. Gus, you got any more questions to ask on your behalf?
Wait, let me check.
You don't have to die like a whale to ask questions.
Listen, it's my whale mating call. Leave me alone. Oh yeah, I mean, I guess if I was gonna ask, you already talked about like local dream matches, but if you could wrestle like anyone. Anywhere, like especially mainstream names, like people, anyone that a lot of people would know from like the major promotions, who would it be?
All right, big names around the world. I have thought that for a long time, probably a good 10 years, that Kota Ibushi is my favorite wrestler this time.
Ooh, good
would
choice.
Love to match with him. He's one of those guys that can just excel at any style.
He is like so naturally talented at the wrestling. Like he just from the way he moves, it's just so natural. It's like so natural for him.
Yeah, and again, he can adapt to pretty much any style. Like he'll change the way he wrestles to fit whoever he's fighting perfectly, and it will just make it feel good. Hiroshi Tanahashi, I think, is the best wrestler in the world.
Air guitar boys.
Love to wrestle him. Yeah. Bit of a theme here, pretty boys. Good hair.
Pretty boys with long hair.
Yeah, well, with just in Japan as well, there's Konosuke Takashita, the DDT champ, but he has been for a lot lately. It's kind of their main guy, one of the best German suplexes going. Would love to wrestle him.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep. And elsewhere, I mean, like, I'm probably, unfortunately, putting this name forward far too late, but I would have loved to have wrestled Rey Mysterio. Like, he is, just like he is, the amount that man has given to the world of pro wrestling seems to somehow still go underappreciated. It's ridiculous.
It's just one of those
names that would be a fun match, like for anyone.
One of those names that's always constant in the business, but it's not so prominent that he's not the first thing that comes to your mind, but then he's always there, and you're like, oh my god, Rey Mysterio.
Exactly, dude. Like whenever you say you're talking about wrestling and someone brings up Rey Mysterio, you're like, oh my god, dude, Rey Mysterio, what a man.
Yeah.
It's like you just forget about him until someone brings him up.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Like, yeah, like he's always been there. And then, just he actually changed the way wrestling done and perceived. Like, it's just crazy to think, like, his resume and who he's wrestled and what he's done kind of the world over is just ridiculous. God, there's so many names that I should be thinking of, but I think at least those as a short list is fairly indicative. There's probably a lot more in the America that I should be thinking of. For some reason, they're just not coming to head right now.
Well, let's switch it up a little bit as well. Who would you say personally are your favorite wrestlers?
Kind of the list I just listed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kota Ibushi has been my favorite wrestler for a long time.
I just realized that question does go hand in hand because you're actually a wrestler. Not only can you have personal favorites, but it's just like, you know what, I also like to beat the shit out of those personal favorites. Like, that would be pretty weird as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, if you were to get in a match, guys of quality and level, like, if you come out the other side and they're what higher praise can everything I've been doing is worth it, right? Like, you know, these are the guys that I think you are the best at what you do. I'm, you know, doing my best.
Let's beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, right. It's weird little thing like that. Rey Mysterio.
What a man.
Park is another one. Like I think
Park, yeah.
Yeah, so many. Tajiri, I've gone on a big buzz lately of
Tajiri,
young Tajiri, and just realizing how good he was, and like he could have been even bigger, which is crazy. Like he started off in a smaller promotion in Japan, Big Japan, and he had kind of the choice of either becoming a big thing in New Japan or going to America. And he went to America, and he did very well for himself there. And it's just like, it's crazy to think that he could have stayed in Japan and been one of the top guys. Crazy little path that he forged. Milano Collection AT is another one of those guys that, again, like should have been bigger than he ever was. And like going back and rediscovering his stuff. A lot of Dragon Gate guys. Shima, who I got to meet here in Adelaide on one of the smallest attended shows
Shima,
I've ever been on. Yeah, he's been a long time favorite as well. Just a lot of stuff I realized, like, and kind of learned by watching him, just kind of like how you can do a move that a lot of other people do, but really like add your own style and flair to it is kind of what I learned from watching Shima. And just was really kind of, that was like a secret, like had to really hold myself back moment. Like I was like, wow, I'm talking to Shima. Like I was like trying to make an idiot of myself in front of him. And it was, thankfully there was just weird locally tour show that somehow Shima was on, and Ryback that was out here in Adelaide doing these crazy small attended shows a year or two ago. It was very, very weird. Good, funny
that
experience.
Like a fever dream.
It really was.
Ryback did like a whole Australian tour for some reason. He just came and wrestled at a bunch of indie promotions in Australia, and like that was like in 2018 or something.
Did and advertised shows, and it basically kind of boiled to a head at that Adelaide show backstage, which again. It was a very that was one where like the show was probably looked really insignificant but crazy about like that were on it, but then the backstage stories were just something.
Yeah, no, that's.
I just love that he has like his own podcast thing now.
Yeah.
What is it called? I don't even remember.
Big Guy Podcast.
Something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I heard he's like a dick on it or something. He said some stupid shit.
We're not here to call anyone out.
Ryback's podcast is a topic for another day.
Yeah. It's not today. Unless all right, this has all been very, very interesting and fascinating. Unless you've got any final questions, guys. You're tapped out?
I'm tapped out.
Well, would you like... I think we've been going for over an hour, so I think... Unless anything else, I think we're good to go. But thanks heaps for joining us here, mate. I really do appreciate you coming around and giving us your time. Do you have anything...
I have time to fill while we're all sitting at home, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair. Do you have anything to plug or promote?
I think the Wrestle Rampage replay.
Replay. Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah,
I really should know that more. But check that out.
Don't tell anyone. It's replay.
Yeah. Definitely. Check it out. Even just I'd say spend the money on that arena show, and if you like that, go deeper, explore. There's a lot of really good stuff on there. I guess you can follow me on Twitter.
What's your Twitter?
Link. Twitter is humanbulletlink. I'm also on Facebook. Search up humanbulletlink. Through there, if you're really so inclined, and if you like the design of the Kira themed or Neon Genesis Evangelion themed merchandise, there is an email link contact me and I'll make sure I can get those out to you. I have t-shirts and prints and whatnot. Yeah, that's probably the main two for me. If you're a local Adelaide person, come see me at AvCon. And
and the shows when they start again.
Yeah. Both, I'll hint at this now. There's been inklings that AvCon are planning to do something with the hosts soon, or previous hosts / new hosts that both Carlin and I should be involved with whenever it gets going. We NDAs, I don't know, I'm not going to tell everyone what it is because it's not even confirmed yet, but there are plans going along for the AvCon hosts to be involved in some stuff. So you may see Carlin and I over there, so check out AvCon if you want as well.
Oh, okay, sorry, I was wondering what you were talking about, but I remember you told me already. I won't say anything.
No, don't say anything.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Link Barnett, the Human Bullet, the DemiGod, for joining us here today.
Not a problem.
Zelda, man. Your name's not Zelda?
No,
what the heck?
I was tempted, but no, I figured that snafu out earlier.
No.
God damn it.
And Gus, do the outro.
Okay, so I'm not gonna fuck it up this time. Watch me. Anyway, if you wait, I fucked it up already. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can at FireStorm Pod, where we'll post dick jokes and probably the times where Trent and I are really stupid on Discord. And that's about all you'll see. Other than us promoting our content, #content. So if you like those three things, follow us on Twitter. And if you have any questions or suggestions for us, if you want us to talk about your favorite thing or something along those lines, you can leave that in the comments below or email us at firestormproductions2@gmail.com. Our most recent email was telling us that our suspension was lifted. So please fill our inbox with something that is not us getting suspended or unsuspended. Thank you. And yeah, so thank you for listening, everyone. Thanks, Carlin, for joining us, and we'll see you all on Wednesday. Trent and I will see you on Wednesday, right?
All right. Yes.
Right? Okay. Awesome. Okay,
catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Fuck you.